Good evening and welcome to tonight's press call following the vice presidential debate in Salt Lake City. Leading tonight's call will be Trump 2020 Senior Advisor Jason Miller and Chief of Staff to the Vice President Mark Short. The contents of tonight's call are on the record attributable to the individual speaking. We thank you for your participation, and I will now turn tonight's call over to Chief of Staff to the VP, Mark Short.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. I'll be quick, but we are very excited with the Vice President's performance. He was phenomenal tonight. He made the case for another 4 years of the Trump-Pence administration. I think he very clearly answered the question of who do you trust to rebuild our economy as we conclude the pandemic? Who do you trust to make sure that the vaccine is developed and distributed so that Americans can be safe? Who do you trust to make sure that our streets and our communities are safe and can stand with law and order? And on a foreign policy perspective, who do you trust to make sure that America is safe, right? Recounting the chaos in the world that this administration inherited and the incredibly bad foreign policy decisions of the Obama-Biden administration. And he's able to talk about that, obviously, in very, very personal ways with the families and the audience. And so I think that we feel that the Vice President was able to get across every possible message that we would have wanted tonight. We feel that as well as a challenge for us is who do you trust to confront China in the years ahead, and comparing the record of Joe Biden as Vice President relative to the Trump-Pence administration. I think that there's a clear hands-down verdict that this administration is the one that's going to challenge China. As you heard the Vice President ask when Senator Harris alleged of us losing the trade wars, the Vice President said that they never even fought one. And so I think that it was a really great night for us. And we look forward to continuing to press that case on the campaign trail. The Vice President tomorrow will quickly be up in the morning and headed to Nevada to start a campaign event. And we have an incredibly busy schedule for the next week, traveling across the continental United States. So great night, Vice President. We feel like could not have performed better in talking about not just the record of the Trump-Pence administration, but also the clear contrast and vision for the next 4 years, and when one vision that offers hope and offers opportunity for all Americans with free market policies that will continue to reduce the regulatory burden and continue to keep the tax burden light, versus an alternative that would not only raise taxes by $4 trillion, but also impose a Green New Deal and kill thousands and thousands of jobs. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jason, but real quick, synopsis we feel great about tonight.
Excellent. Thank you, Mark, very much. And once again, the Vice President did fantastic. Very, very impressive debate performance. I want to kind of pick up with something that Mark made a point on earlier, and that's the role of the Vice Presidency. And I think sometimes with these debates, we kind of go into the who scored what points where, who had a lineup the night, what were some of the different optics. But this really boils down to the role of the Vice Presidency, and that's very simply to be able to step up and lead our nation should that responsibility fall to them. And I think that what we saw tonight from Vice President Pence is someone who is very much ready to step up and lead our country if called upon. I think Senator Harris very much looked like someone who is not ready for prime time, let alone the role of Vice President, and certainly not the role of President of the United States. Completely ill-equipped and unprepared, and many times was completely lost up there on the debate stage. You know, I was looking back through my notes as I took studious notes all through the debate, and the word that kept coming up and I kept seeing on social media quite a bit was rambling. And in the role of Vice President, or even in the role of President, that is something that you can't ramble your way through a head-to-head negotiation with Xi Jinping. You can't ramble through a head-to-head negotiation with leaders of Congress. So as we go through here, I think it's also important to point out that this is now 2 debates in a row where I believe that both the President and the Vice President have teamed up to lay out a very clear vision for America. As Mark spoke to earlier, one that believes in lower taxes and economic growth, restoring safety in our communities, economic opportunity for all. These are very clear themes I think have come across from both of these debates here. I do want to highlight just a couple of points that I picked up on. Right out of the gate in this debate, we saw very serious, strong leadership from the Vice President, particularly on his COVID leadership. I thought he scored an early jab with the plagiarism point on Joe Biden. If anyone is unfamiliar with this, just look up Neil Kinnock. It's what ended Joe Biden's 1988 presidential run. And it's a serious point, though. I mean, essentially, Joe Biden's entire COVID recovery plan is a very poorly cut and pasted job. Some of the top line items that President Trump and Vice President Pence have led on. I think that we also saw early on the Vice President call out Kamala Harris, Senator Harris, for some dangerous anti-vax rhetoric. And this is something I think too few members of the National Press Corps have called out Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for. This dangerous anti-vax rhetoric will cost us lives. It's very clear even tonight that they were tripling down on this dangerous anti-vax rhetoric. I think the Vice President also scored early with his jab at Joe Biden's 47-year record of failure. His calling out Joe Biden for his stated position to raise taxes on day one should he ever become president. You saw repeatedly over and over the Vice President hammering Joe Biden and Kamala Harris on their support for the Green New Deal. And again, not the Joe Biden kind of make-believe Green New Deal, but the real deal AOC Green New Deal that Kamala Harris was the first Senate co-sponsor for. A couple other things, too, that I thought were really big. I thought the exchange regarding China was pretty powerful. And I don't think that Senator Harris has maybe read Joe Biden's 2011 op-ed about China's rise not being our demise. Maybe that didn't get included in the briefing package. I certainly don't think that Senator Harris has read the recent New York Times story about Joe Biden's efforts to support China on MFN status or entry into the WTO. Definitely Senator Harris has not seen the interview or the speech that Joe Biden gave where he spoke of having spent more time in one-on-one meetings with Xi Jinping than any other world leader, which definitely shows that just having a relationship with someone doesn't mean that you're necessarily winning it. I don't think Joe Biden has. So I think the economic surrender to China points were very important from the Vice President. I thought it was a great point by the VP on the American comeback. And as we kind of continue through this about the hits on the radical environmental agenda, being the most liberal senator, were also very important hits that the Vice President made. And then when we got to I wrote down here is really what I thought was potentially the most powerful segment of the entire debate at 9:55 p.m. when we had the exchange on foreign policy. And this is where Vice President Pence really showed how much of a serious player he is, someone who's done a fantastic job as VP, as a governor, as a member of Congress before that. When he went through everything this administration has done, whether it be on eradicating ISIS, taking up Soleimani, hostages, as Mark referenced the Taylor Mueller story, even moving the embassy to Jerusalem, Vice President Pence showed that he is ready to step up and lead as President of the United States if called upon. And this is something where you could see right there in that moment. We had a deer in the headlights look from Senator Harris, where any American watching this debate tonight should be very scared at the prospect of Kamala Harris in the role of Vice President, or even, heaven forbid, President of the United States. And I thought that probably the second biggest moment of the evening was probably the exchange on court packing. When over and over Kamala Harris couldn't answer the simple question, are you going to pack the court? We've even seen moderators from Chuck Todd and other folks out there calling out the Biden-Harris ticket for this, just the inability to answer the very simple question, where are you going court packing? So there were no, and then I haven't even got to the law and order section that we got to towards the the end. I think maybe this is a moderator's choice to maybe try to bail out, pun intended, Kamala Harris on this one. This is just the absolute savage deception by the Vice President to go through Kamala Harris's record, failed record, I should say, as DA, as Attorney General of the state of California. And you can just see that the Vice President is such a serious player, such a consummate professional, in the way that he knew Kamala Harris's record better than she did, quite frankly. So we're very excited about the 3.5 years of leadership that the Vice President has given in his partnership, being a teammate of President Trump. I know President Trump was very excited by the VP's performance. He was personally tweeting, as you guys saw during the debate, and returning the favor for all the hard work that the Vice President has done. So we thought this was a resounding victory for Vice President Pence this evening, and now we're on to the next one next week. So thank you, everybody, so much for calling in this evening, and we look forward